All right. Are we going?
Oh, I don't have a drink.
We were talking about. Oh my God!
I have coffee.
Michael. No. Keep it going. Keep it going. Okay. No. We're not going to stop. This is with Michael Drinkless on Sips and Clips.
Is that his stage name, Michael Drinkless?
Michael Drinkless. Yes. Oh my God, that should be his name now. I'm going to call him that when he comes down.
From the sands of Arrakis to the spotlight of the Oscars, today's guest has done it all. Alan Maxson, a master of unscripted editing, a former assistant editor, and a seasoned creature actor, Alan's career is a testament to versatility in Hollywood. We dive into his journey of juggling multiple roles in the ever-evolving world of editorial, and of course, get the inside scoop on playing chopsticks on stage with none other than the one and only Conan O'Brien. Well, this is, I guess now we're just podcasting.
This is good.
We've been podcasting the whole time. We've been discussing your stage name.
I'm in a podcast?
Yes.
Oh my God.
You're on a podcast?
You have a stage name
we
too.
Decided
I just woke up.
Yeah, you have a stage name. You're now Michael Drinkless.
Michael Drinkless, like Michael Chickless, but
Yes.
Michael Drinkless.
Michael Drinkless.
That's funny. I'll take it.
We got Michael Drinkless over here in the house.
You know why that's funny? Because we replaced chick with drink.
And he
So it's
didn't have a
Michael
drink.
Drinkless. I love seeing Michael Chickless in anything. I don't know why. It's always such a delight to me whenever you see Michael Chickless in something. Because you're like, I didn't know Michael Chickless was in this. And
I don't
then
know
you see it
who
and you're
that
like,
is. So,
He's the Thing in Fantastic Four.
oh,
Like the good Fantastic Four movies.
yeah.
The one where, you know what I'm talking
It's
about.
been a
I'm not
long.
wrong.
I don't know if I've ever
He's the
actually
Thing.
seen Fantastic Four movies. So
You haven't? Oh my God. They're actually, okay, I don't know. This might be just like me, Michael being a child and watching these films, but I remember those films being like pretty good.
I've never seen it either.
Michael's-
You're kidding me.
Michael's a child anyway.
I am the child.
A child?
He's
A
such
child.
A child.
Michael Chickless, he was in The Shield. I've never seen that, but he's
No.
in it. It's all several
Really,
seasons
really,
of it.
Michael, you put a whole layer onto it that we would not.
You can't
quite.
reference Michael Chickless. Oh, he's in Winning Time. Oh,
You-
shit, he's in Don't Look Up. He's in that too.
That's why you know him so well.
No, I know him so well because he's the Thing. He's the Thing. He's also in Winning Time. I forgot he's also in Winning Time.
Basically,
Although, isn't the
you just-
thing under prosthetics, so you don't know what he looks like in that?
You see?
No, but he is Michael Chickless before he becomes the Thing. Before he goes
See,
up
I
in
haven't
the
seen the
space.
movie.
He
I
goes
don't
up in a
Yeah, I
spaceship.
don't either. No.
He goes up in a spaceship and they get hit with intergalactic radiation in the spaceship.
turns into a rock
man.
becomes
course.
the giant rock man.
course.
And everybody else gets really cool powers. And he's like, guys, this sucks. You guys are all like cool and hot. And I am a giant rock. Then they all start getting like cancer and they have to like solve their cancer before they all die.
Michael,
by the end
this
of the
was
film.
this was really just because you did not have a drink.
You guys should watch. You guys should
didn't
watch
really-
Fantastic Four. I can't believe I'm sitting here defending Fantastic Four. It's a good movie.
New poll alert: is Fantastic Four a good movie?
Yes.
Rate it in the poll below.
2005 Fantastic Four.
Nobody's arguing against you because nobody's seen it.
Yes, no one's
So, like, in
arguing
fact,
against you.
there's no votes for it being a bad movie here. We don't know.
Not here. We'll see what the poll says. Welcome to this episode of Sips and Clips. My name is Leanne McFalls,
My name is Michael Schusterman.
and we have a celebrity in the house today. Oh my God. Michael, did you know that we were
Play
ever
the
going to
clip.
get...
Play the audio.
Sandworm from Dune 2 playing chopsticks on the piano.
Damn. Play the harp.
There is no instrument he cannot play. Here he is again, all the way from the Juilliard School of Music, Arrakis campus, on harp, the Sandworm from Dune.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you know who we have on the show today? We have the one, the only Worm from Dune Part 2 / the Oscars.
Thank you. I actually prefer my full name, the Sandworm.
The Sandworm.
The Sandworm.
Shai
Only,
Halud.
only friends can call me the worm, but I would prefer Sandworm.
Mr.
Yes.
Halud, I'm so sorry.
I wear a bow tie. I like to be more
Yes,
professional.
Well, Sandworm, why don't you give us your name?
I am also known as Alan Maxson.
Whoa.
Wow.
Who would have known that Alan Maxson was the Sandworm? Wow.
By day, I am a television editor, and by also day, I am a creature actor.
Oh, that's how you describe it.
Yes.
That's how you describe
Creature
yourself.
actor.
Yes.
I love it. That's a lot of talents. Now we have to unwrap all of
There
this.
is a lot of talent. Yeah, you've got quite an expansive resume. I think of all the guests we've had on Sips and Clips so far, by far your IMDb has the most numbers on it, without a doubt. Just the most raw numbers if you add everything up.
And probably also most categories because
Without a doubt. I'm
because the different
scrolling.
departments I've worked in.
I am
yes.
scrolling. So, I mean, you know, we're primarily a show that's focused on editorial and assistant editorial for sure. But I also think we have a lot of people who listen and who are also assistant editors that are also more holistic filmmakers or former holistic filmmakers kind of thing. I know I want to talk to you about a lot of things, but I think like just to give us a basic rundown of like, how do you see yourself fitting into the larger filmmaking puzzle? Like, how would you describe yourself? And how does editorial play a big part of that? And then how did you become the worm?
Many questions here. So I guess how I view myself within the industry. That's an interesting question. I'm not sure.
You just call yourself a filmmaker? Is that like a catch-all?
Yeah, I guess I would say I have 3 titles I would give myself, because there's the 3 titles that I primarily do and get hired for. And that's editing, acting, and I suppose filmmaking would be the third. Your other question, your second question, your third question was how to get the job, but there was one before that.
How does editorial fit into?
How does it fit in?
Because specifically we're an editorial podcast, so you know, how does editing and editorial fit into your life? How did it fit into your life? How does it fit into your life today? You know, balancing. Oh, what are we sipping on? I'm sorry.
Well, editing fits my life.
I'm getting too
what we
excited. Leanne,
drink.
hold on.
Too excited.
I'm getting too excited. There's
we
too many things I
drink
want to talk about.
and
Leanne
and to
is
fit
correct.
into our lives.
We do drink to fit things into our life. Speaking of drinking,
Drinking, what a segue. Oh my God, I cannot believe that we forgot to talk about what we're sipping on. Alan, as the guest, we always let you go first, so tell us about it.
Well, I'm drinking this fine flavored, probably loaded with sugar.
hey, it's neon.
Yeah, it's a bright, like red pink raspberry watermelon lemonade from Dunkin' Donuts, who I've always enjoyed because it's really close to my home. But since they recently did a commercial with Jay and Silent Bob, they have me sold for life.
Are you East Coaster?
I grew up in Michigan.
Close enough.
But I've lived in California for, I think, half my life at this point. Okay. So I consider myself Californian.
The structure of this podcast has gone all over the place today.
I leave it unedited. That's how the kids like it.
I probably will.
I only ask because whenever you see somebody drinking Dunkin' in Los Angeles, it's normally indicative of the fact that they are not from California.
Mine's indicative of laziness, and it's real close to my home.
Fair enough.
There you go.
Fair enough.
Michael, who appeared drinkless in the beginning of
Michael
this
Drinkless.
episode,
Michael
he had
Drinkless.
to go and get something. But what did you end up settling on?
I had an almond latte this morning.
Okay.
Like I just woke up and went and got one. And then, so don't worry, guys. I stuck with that. But then finished that before I got here because I had to contend with the LA Marathon this morning, fighting my way to get here. Who knew that runs right through my neighborhood?
The runners knew.
They did.
The winos knew.
They did. So I drank that before I got here. I have today a regular cup of black coffee that I brewed in Leanne's Keurig. And today I have a Sprite, zero sugar as well, because it's good. Do you know about my diet soda addiction? Have I told you about this?
Yes, you did.
I love diet soda, and I have like my fridge is literally filled top to bottom with diet soda. I go to Costco and I just buy like the giant pallets of Diet Coke.
Why do you prefer the diet? Is it the flavor?
I think it's one of those things where it's like I started drinking like Diet Coke, and then I just got on this Diet Coke has this just like almost bad taste to it when you first have it, but then eventually it transforms into like God's elixir, and you're just like, I will drink like 3 Diet Cokes a day.
You know what that's called, Michael?
Addiction.
Yep.
Leanne, what are you drinking?
I am drinking my famous 3 drinks. One of them is just water, though, so I don't have to talk about that.
3 drinks.
The other one...
That's not a... Oh, I missed. Okay,
The other one is coffee, but it is mushroom coffee. Has anybody had... It's supposed to be very good on your gut, but there's also... I literally bought the bag down, so I would not mess this up. There's lion's mane, chaga, and cordyceps, which is for focus, immunity, and energy.
Aren't cordyceps the thing that kill everybody in The Last of Us?
You know what? I don't remember, Michael, but it's not killing me.
Cassidy is shaking his head, so I presume that the answer to that is
the
yes.
answer is yes. It's been a while since I've seen The Last of Us, so I don't remember that much. I'm sure you're right, but it's pretty good. I've been drinking it. Tastes just like coffee.
Does it have caffeine in it?
It like has, I think, all of this stuff that it has is like naturally supposed to wake you up.
I have doubts.
That's what this changa or the lines means, like for focus. Hold on.
Oh, it's already like ground. It's not like beans.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, there is coffee in this. It says organic coffee is the first ingredient.
It says, I thought it says organic mushroom blend.
Yeah, it says the first ingredient is coffee and then mushroom blend after. So there is coffee.
There you go. So it is coffee, but it has all the mushroom blends in it. That although it is,
so it's going to have caffeine in it.
Calmer on my stomach, I will say.
Okay.
So if anybody maybe it has like not as much caffeine, but like everything, the mushroom blend's supposed to also like add to the energy. I will say that I looked it up and there are multiple studies where it's like there's not enough research to say whether or not like mushroom coffee is better for you. So I will put that out there. Anyway, I decided to try it because
if you think it's better for your stomach, then
yeah, it is. It's a little bit calmer. The other thing that I have is I will stand by this, and this is actually kind of funny. The other drink that I'm drinking is a Spindrift, and I love Spindrifts. Spindrifts are actually my Diet Coke. I had to stop buying them because they were just expensive. Mm-hmm. And so when I stopped working, it's like, I can't. But every time I go to the store, yeah, but the flavor, I like trying all the flavors. This one is new. I haven't had it before. It's the Grapeade one. But I always argue with people, even people who have no tips about it, that it is a lot better than LaCroix. And I'm always like, this is better than LaCroix. And people are like, I wasn't arguing that it was or wasn't. I'm like, but it is. And they're like, okay.
I really liked LaCroix. And then I think I've gone off the LaCroix train.
The Spindrift, I like because it has like the actual juice of the fruit. Like I love the pineapple one. Usually I don't like pineapple flavored things, but it's literally like they just took pineapple juice, which I do like.
This is a total side tangent, but when I was a kid, I had a teacher that was on some type of medication that she told us that like she can't eat pineapple because it reacts really badly with her medication and to like cause a hole to open up in her stomach. And I remember like being so viscerally afraid of that as a child that like every time I have like Advil, part of me thinks like, oh, like I have like a juice or something, I'll be like, wait, is this going to have a negative reaction? Am I going to like open a hole in my stomach? But I'm always worried about creating a baking soda volcano in my stomach, you know? You know what I mean?
All right. On that note,
anyway,
baking soda volcano in the stomach. All right, let's get into it.
I don't even know where we
indigestion.
I know, honestly.
So, Alan, you have an IMDb that is the most intimidating IMDb I've ever seen in my life. It's got the most categories. It's got the most things.
Yeah, wait a minute. Let's give the number. He has his previous acting credits. He has 123 with 3 upcoming.
Yeah, so you got 126.
7 director credits with 1 upcoming. 36 editing credits with 2 upcoming.
32 editorial department.
Quite the long list of credits here that we have.
So we are primarily an editing podcast, obviously. So I think we want to know in large part about how editing has played a large part in your life, for sure. But you have all these other things, which I think it's interesting to look at and think about, because I think there are a lot of especially a lot of young assistant editors these days that view. There's maybe been a bit of an old guard approach to editorial, which is like, if you're an editor, you should not be anything else. Like you should be an assistant editor, and then you should be an editor, and you really shouldn't have any other aspirations. I think it's really cool that you have all these other things that you've done. So for one, I want to know about how you got involved doing all these other things. I mean, how you even got involved in editorial, and then just, in large part, how editorial has played a large part in your life.
It's interesting because what you just said / asked popped something in my head that I haven't thought about in a very, very long time. But the old guard of only having one category on your list is actually something I was told a lot when I was first starting out.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I was too.
I went against it on purpose for a reason that I didn't know was going to come to your question right here, but it's because I want anyone who's aspiring who've never done this to know you don't just start out in the position you want. There's a huge ladder and you have to grind and climb and work for a very long fucking time to get there. And my IMDb actually shows that path. And that I remember even when I was a post PA, I was like, I want people to know I started at the bottom. There is, unless you are like a Nepo baby, there is no easy path. It's a hard road to climb. And, I know a lot of fellow, editors who came from similar paths to me. You look at their IMDb, it only has their editing credit. They didn't add anything until they got to where they wanted. But I wanted to show it because I feel like it does tell the truth. And I think it adds some value to, now at a certain point, I feel like it did hurt me because there's people with that old guard mindset would, put me in a box and I had to fight to kind of get out of some of it. But at this point, I think in my career, it's definitely helped me because it shows that I know what I'm talking about.
So you were just talking about being a PA when you were starting out. So we want to know how you got started as well, which can also probably tie into the Michael's question about editing, how that has now become part of your life. But how did you get started in the sense of like, were you always interested in film? Like, where did you grow up? Where are you from? And, how did you make your way out here? And then what did you start? Did you start as an editor, as an actor? As it like, what was the first thing that you tried to do to get into the industry?
Well, I think non-professionally, I started out kind of doing all of it. Growing up, I was in drama, I was in choir, I was in the musicals. I grew up in Michigan.
Where on the hand?
All right, you ready? Right there.
He's pointing to the base of his thumb, a little bit above the base of his thumb.
Tri-City area near the Lake Huron.
Okay.
In the Palm. Any Michigander will know. Some Canadians might know. So yeah, even growing up and then, being a performer and also making my own stuff growing up. I edited my own things. I created my own things. And this was all
age old question. What did you edit on?
Well, before going to college, because I went to a school that didn't have jack shit. So this was all, this was before YouTube and all that. So like this was when you just had to do it old school style.
2000 what? Give us dates.
I graduated from high school in 2003.
Okay.
When I created things in high school, I believe I had some sort of version of like Vegas video. And then eventually when I started going to school, I went to a community college first. And we learned actually on pneumatics. So it was the 3/4 inch tape decks.
Oh, wow.
And we learned linear editing.
Were you going for film or were you just going as like a
Well, where I'm from, they laugh at that.
Oh, okay.
It's not a real job. So it was broadcasting.
Broadcasting. All right.
But then after, linear tape-to-tape editing, then I believe we learned on Final Cut because it was a community college, so it was cheap. So you learn Final Cut.
You're on like an Apple II or something or a Macintosh or...
Yeah, I think it was the G4s.
Oh, okay.
Or G3s
Yeah.
It was those machines, I think.
Because now we're in 2005, 2006. Yeah, okay.
But then, after that, then it was I learned Avid. And it's funny because I've been on Avid my entire professional career, all up until what we in this industry are calling the dark times.
And it's the dark times.
No jobs.
Oh, that too.
Or AKA
That too.
shitty jobs.
That too.
And since then, the last 2 years, I've taken jobs doing Premiere and Resolve, which is weird. Resolve for offline, but like all these, small budget indie things are using those. And so I've opened now to, I can
do more things.
Use all of them with no issues. But it was Avid for, whatever since 2007 when I moved to California. So it's been like 2 decades of Avid and then suddenly trying to use these prosumer applications.
So when you were studying broadcasting, were you doing that thinking like, I really like editorial, I want to come out to Hollywood for editorial? Or did you come out to Hollywood with the intention of being like, I am a filmmaker who wants to act and wants to make movies and wants to write movies and wants to do all kinds of things, and I like editorial as my like a job, as like a steadier job?
It was interesting because I think, man, you're asking questions I haven't thought about in a very long time.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
You could take your time.
It's
take your
helping
time.
me go down memory lane. When I first moved to California, I just wanted to work in the industry. because it was, it was just clear that, my entire life it's been entertainment and creating and stuff. So I was like,
And when did you move to California? Was it right after college?
yes.
Okay. So you've been in California for about 20-ish years.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going back. We're going a little
I'm trying to think 2 decades earlier.
Jogging his memory to see how.
I'm only asking because I think there is, at least in my belief, a real sense that things are shifting in a way where the idea that you can just be an assistant editor and then an editor, and your IMDb, for lack of a better term, can just be representative of those two things for an entire career may be trickier and trickier as time goes on. I think more people are going to wear more hats. I think more people are going to have to do more things. They're going to need to know a lot of base principles of a lot of other things that aren't just the straight and narrow of avid scripted or unscripted editorial. I find it interesting that, I've only been in the industry about 5-6 years. And even in that time, I feel like I have sensed a vibe shift of this idea that like wearing more hats is okay. And so I'm kind of asking about like, when you came to LA, you definitely came to LA in a time in which that definitely wasn't the case.
It was an old guard.
Yes. Like there was this sense that if you're going into editorial, I was even told in film school, like if you want to be an editor, but you have aspirations to do something else, don't ever tell anybody that.
I was told that as well.
Right.
And
so
it was true when I was starting out. It was true. And I had to keep separate resumes.
Yeah.
I had different resumes for different departments. And even for a long time, I didn't tell anyone in post that I was also an actor. I'd be booking decent roles doing creature stuff, and I just didn't tell anybody.
You would do the gig on the weekend and then not tell anybody or whatever.
Yeah, but you're an actor. You don't know how to edit.
Right. Yeah.
It's, shifted because of some of the successes and also just like acceptance of well-roundedness and things like that has changed. But for a long time, I was definitely, it hindered me and I had to keep things separated. But you mentioned...
I'm just curious, what, at the end of the day, like you're doing editorial. Why focus on editorial? Why not focus on these other things, these other aspirations you have? Like you continue to go back to editorial. Obviously, post is still calling you back. Why post?
I think for a few reasons. I think, initially it just kept pulling me back because I was good at it. And especially when I was starting out the assistant role, I don't know if it's still the thing, but the thing when I was starting in unscripted is if you were a good assistant, they would move up people who were not, and you'd be stuck because they didn't know how to find another good one. And so I saw a lot of people surpass me much quicker, and I'm like, how are they failing upwards? What the hell's going on? And then I would hear comments and stuff like, how we would love to give you a shot, but like we couldn't find anyone that can do the show like you, and just comments like that. It may still be the case, it might not be, I'm not sure. But I was good at it, and so it kept calling me back. Post to me, it's the last line of defense. It's where the real final magic happens to create the product. That, you also asked earlier something about how does editing come back around to everything I do, and I truly believe the editing experience I have has helped me with not just filmmaking and directing, but also as an actor, especially doing creature work, because a lot of the stuff I do, I'm in costumes, makeup, prosthetics, it's stunts, choreographed fight scenes, wire work, camera tricks, a lot of practical, because I've done motion capture, but I've also done probably 99% of it is practical. And so a lot of it is in-camera tricks.
So I actually do want to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
This is all good, but I do want to know, you come out here to Hollywood, and then I kind of want to know what that first step or first job is. Did you come out looking to be an editor? Or did you come out looking to do creature work? Did it just come to you? Like how did that whole process? And then, which I guess can kind of segue into like if you did decide to do editing.
Yeah. Well, I think when I first came out, I put performance and acting aside for quite a few years, actually. I wanted to just get my feet on the ground and make money. So I started, I got very, very lucky where my uncle's high school friend ran a shop in Studio City that they edited actor demo reels. It's the age-old thing of just random chance of who do you know? And he brought me in to edit that. So I would edit actor demo reels for a lot of great actors came in and they're managing clients and stuff. And we also did a lot of converting because this was all still when we were airing in SD. When we did outputs, we would have to do both an HD and an SD version. And we were still shooting on tape, delivering on tape. So we did a lot of converting. Like we would do U-Matix or VHS or whatever format to DVD. And so I worked at this shop cutting actor demo reels for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years.
These were just like generic demos that these actors sent out, or these were like they were doing self-tapes for a role?
It's like their collective work.
Okay.
Here's 2 minutes of my best acting. So, for example, one client that I had was Richard Hurd, and he is most known for, you would have seen him in V, the miniseries, Seinfeld. I believe he was also on Star Trek. He was in a ton of things, but it's a collection of those shows in like a minute or two for him to send out to casting.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, I immediately jumped in the editor chair using Avid, sitting with clients. And that's where I got my first initial start. But because that's so different from the TV world, after starting out in that edit chair, I did have to go down to PAing. And up from PA to ed assistant to editor.
And what was your first quote unquote real show? Your first quote unquote like to broadcast show?
I could be wrong. You might have to look at IMDb, but I believe it was American Gladiators, the remake with Hulk Hogan. I was a parking lot PA.
You were a parking lot PA. What was your first post? Your first post one?
Fact check me. But
I can check.
I believe it was
Michael's
Bingo America. I think Bingo.
It's
America.
the same year, but you have Mama's Boys and Bingo America is 2008.
Definitely Bingo America.
Bingo America.
Mama's Boys was a short stint. I don't remember how long it was, but I remember it was kind of this. It was the same post house doing both shows, and I was an employee of Bingo America, but they had me doing shit.
And your first assistant editing credit is on a TV show called I Survived a Japanese Game Show.
Oh yeah, that was a good gig.
That sounds like so much fun, though.
That show was actually probably. Here's the thing that I'll say about unscripted assistant editors.
Yeah, because I think that's a big thing we want to get into for a lot of our listeners is most of your career, at least in editorial, has been spent in unscripted and reality.
And that's because of when I joined the workforce, the writer's strike in 2007.
Oh, so that's just what you got started doing.
There wasn't anything else to start doing.
Wow, yeah.
Reality boomed in 2007. And many people got their careers just because we were like, we have to survive.
So I want really quick before we get into that, right before the 2007 and reality booming and all of that, were you also doing creature work at the same time doing this?
Not then.
Or were you okay?
Not then.
You came out and you were mainly focusing on editing and being an editor, and then all of the other like creature work acting stuff sort of came later.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So yes, we do want to get into the reality.
Yeah, I like to tell me
about Japanese game show.
Oh, please.
Yes, please.
Love to hear about
game
it.
Show is to me is the epitome of why I think unscripted assistant editors are the strongest assistants you will ever meet.
Totally agree.
My very first job, I had to learn how to group and sync 26 cameras.
Oh my God.
With audio for all of them, with time code only on half the cameras, and slate on none of them.
Oh.
And it had to be perfect. That was my entrance.
We're just gonna let that sink in for a second.
That was my entrance into assistant editing. And from there, everything was easy.
I want to know how many tracks of Avid were you then? Tons. Can't even.
It's crazy. Yeah.
How many
What you have to do
stacks?
for shows like that is it's intense. And the times have changed so much. You know, obviously right now there's not many shows like that anymore. The way we ran or had teams on shows like that isn't around at all anymore. So on shows like that, and it went for quite a few years, you would have a team of 10 assistant editors.
Wow.
You'd have 5 during the day, 5 at night. Yeah. And it was like this awesome collaborative like group.
Yeah.
And you'd have a lead who kind of like oversaw it all. And it was just an amazing team. Now you'll have, if there's a show with say 10 editors, you'd be lucky if you have
3, 4
one day, one night.
Yeah.
Times are just so different. And I feel like it's just shrinking even more and more, going to what you were saying, where wearing multiple hats. Budgets are just being slashed. But it was such a different experience to have a giant team like that. And you don't see that anymore. Speaking
of experience with reality editing, I mean, mainly the people who we bring on have been working in narrative. And I know that it might be hard, you know, it'd be hard for you to like compare. But I am curious what a day in the life of like a reality assistant is, because I feel like we also have people in here who are narrative who did start out in reality, and even just talking to them, we're like, oh my God, it's so different in the sense of tasks that they have to do. What is the workflow like? What is, from beginning of you get the footage, and we can talk about assisting, and then if it's easy for you to just go into editing or mix, blend the two.
I think one of the main differences is in narrative. You're assisting the editor. You're helping the editor. Probably a lot more chances to cut things, give string outs. In unscripted, I would say you're a tech person. You're not really even giving the opportunity. It's not even considered that you'll move up. You're just doing all the tech. You're grouping and syncing. You're troubleshooting, even setting up bays, doing your own dailies, things like that. But that's where, when I knew I didn't want to stay in there and I knew I had to like force my way into the editing chair, was I did the same thing when I was a PA. After my 12-hour PA shift, I would stay late with the night assists, and they would show me how to group and sync. And I'd be like, you guys can just, go read a book or watch something on your laptop and let me do the work for you.
Yeah.
And so they showed me how to do it. And by the time I got good, the post soup, he was like, the night guys say you're good, so I'll bring you on the next one. Same with editing. Is I would ask the editors, I'm like, I know I have all this other stuff to do, but if you can give me a scene to cut, I'll cut it for you. And I was lucky enough to have quite a few people do it, which helped me transition. It's free work. You just have to stay late nights and weekends. I remember on Top Gear, they had me doing on-set editing. There was for anyone who's seen the show, there's a segment called Big Star in a Small Car. And basically there's like, they'll put like Ty Burrell in a little car going around the track, and they wanted to play it on stage for the audience afterwards. So I would edit it, lay it to tape, and play it back in the audience immediately. And so like little things like that to help you get the credits of cut the roll-in clips, cut the on-set clips, just anything like that to try to prove your process to move up for potentially the next opportunity. And so you don't get those opportunities in the unscripted world. You just kind of have to
take them.
You have to force them, and you have to like work extra hours to get it. Whereas I feel like in narrative, it is a little bit more like apprenticing. Like
I do want to. Well, I want to ask too. You're talking about editing scenes and grouping clips and all this kind of stuff. Could you just also give the general? I mean, we look at unscripted and we're like, oh my God, it's almost like, I'm sure there's talking heads laid out, storyboards and all that, but there aren't really like scenes like in a narrative, are there? And if there are, then how is that is there like, how, I guess my question's kind of like, how do you determine what is a scene and what is just kind of B-roll stuff, or stuff that you're like, oh, they said this, but we're actually not going to use it? Like, I guess I'm asking how you structure an episode or anything like that.
As an editor, you treat it like you're writing.
Okay.
You create the story, and you build the tension around it, and you build the tension around what's happening. So if it's, there's multiple kinds of unscripted content. There's crime shows, there's docu, there's reality, there's competition.
Now, is that story already kind of laid out? Like it was laid out before
some shows.
Okay.
But
or are you
also,
looking for it is what my question.
It's usually looking for it. And if it's there, it's very subtle and you have to make it more. And that's where the building it on your own comes from. And I think that it takes much longer, I think, because, like you said, it's usually structured out in narrative. Like you have a script saying, here's what the scene is. Whereas in, say it's a straight up reality show, you're building it, you're creating it, then you send it off to the producers. And
you normally have like a story producer who's helping you.
Well, it depends on the show. Most, I would say, especially ones that are heavy, like verite reality, there's usually always a story producer, and they'll do.
I've been to post cutting rooms of reality before, and I've seen their workflows, and I've been like, this is terrifying to me. But it's like, at least the ones I've been to, it's like an editor sitting in a chair, and then a story producer sitting in a chair behind them, being like, do this. And if you go outside into their main cutting room, there's like sticky notes everywhere about like, this is the layout of this episode. We're going to do this scene, and then this scene, and then this scene, and like the story producers are largely dictating a lot of just the structure of the show. But
Yeah, I think it depends on the show. I've had some where they sit behind you and frame fuck the whole time, but usually when you build a trust with someone, usually they'll come in, we'll talk out the scene, they'll give me the string out they made, and then I'll say, cool, come back at the end of the day and I'll show you what I have. Rather than like, because sitting behind you, you're not going to get any work done.
Yeah.
You're gonna be starting and stopping every time they open their mouth. But story producers are very, very like needed. They're very important, and I wish they were actually part of the guild. They should be. It's a crime that they're not. But yeah, so a lot of shows will have that, but some won't. You know, I did a show where it was a paranormal show. Typical thing. Guys walking through a haunted house. And, oh my God, I heard something. And it was just me. I had no story producer, no scripts. I was the showrunner, said, here's your group of the day. Let me know when you have an episode. So I was like, I will. 1 month later, no one came in my edit bay.
Wow.
For an entire month. 1 month later, I was like, I have a cut for you.
Yeah.
And they loved it.
you know, one of the things we've talked about on this show, and I think a lot of like, you know, a lot of the people who listen to our show are, you know, they're young assistant editors, or they're getting started and something like that. And one of the things Leanne and I like to emphasize is this, like, understanding that, like, you know, understanding how to work in Avid is important, understanding how to, you know, sync clips. But there's also this, like, understanding the politics of a cutting room and understanding what to say and when to say and who to say it to. That is coming from the context of Leanne and I, who primarily have only worked in scripted stuff. Is it the same in unscripted? Do you have, like, oh, the executives are coming in today, like, don't say this to them, say this to them, or the director's coming in, or whatever it is. And what is, for somebody who isn't in scripted or wants to start their career in unscripted, what would you kind of say to them as the kind of pitfalls to look for?
I think it's probably universal through not just the genres we're in, but any industry, is just common sense. You know, obviously there is always a hierarchy, and there's always someone that can fire you just because they don't like you. It's just going with your gut. You know, I think just use common sense, and there is a fine line, because there's a fine line of, you're there. They hired you for a reason. So you want to give them your opinion and be creative. But also sometimes maybe you're in a room where there's two other people that they were hired for their opinion that's slightly above yours. Now, in real life, obviously everybody's opinion is equal, but not necessarily at work. At work, it's like an army. You know, you're not going to tell the drill sergeant to do push-ups. He's going to tell you. So yeah, it's just a respect thing. Know your place, but also don't let other people walk on you. And some people are different. Like, you know, there's certain high level people that think they're the shit. So they're much more sensitive to just wanting you to sit down and push the button monkey. But then there's others that absolutely value why you're there, and you just got to know and feel out who's who and go along with it.
Yeah, which I guess I'm also wondering too, to go off of that, between an assistant and an editor in unscripted, are you guys also pretty collaborative, or is there still that, like, you know, in narrative, it's like our assistant is the tech person, but also they can come in every now, obviously depending on the show, but come in every now and then, like, sit down, chat with the editor, maybe about a scene. And also, you know, the assistant for scripted is like the go-to person. You know, they're kind of like the hub that everybody goes to for questions that they have for anything technical or turnovers, blah, blah, blah. Is it the same in unscripted?
Yeah, so I think yes and no. It depends on the show. So majority-wise, the assistant isn't really involved in any of the creative stuff. Back when I was an assistant, there was many shows I worked on where the only time I watched the show was watching the output to QC it before it went out for notes. But it's heavily creative on the above the line. You know, if you're an editor, story producer, showrunner, the three of you are working like crazy together. It's very collaborative. But yeah, you are the hub. I know, you know, on the Queen Latifah show, I think that was the last time I was an assist, I think. But there was, I was the lead on that, and it was the hub, basically. You know, it was a daily show. They filmed it, we edited it, and delivered every day. And so every producer, every writer, all of the editors, everything came through me. It was myself and Dan Cotter, who was the night guy. And so depending on the shift, it always went through one person. When season 2 came around, I remember I had to like have a presentation why I felt like I deserved a raise for season 2. And I remember she was one of the heads of Sony. I wrote up like this 3-page document of what I did.
Oh, wow.
And I had a private meeting. I set up a meeting with her. I was like, I have to discuss this with you. And after talking and her reading the thing, she looked at me, she goes, I had no idea what you did. And I don't think we can do the show without you.
Wow.
And I was just an assistant editor, but it's like, that's how valuable assistant editors are. They're the backbone of post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's unfortunate that they're devalued sometimes. I think a lot has changed. When I was an assist, the pay was very different than it is right now. Now I think it's a lot more comparable. Obviously not the same as an editor, but not as drastically different as it used to be. And I think it was a crime back then what they were paying assistants for being the backbone of post.
Well, speaking of being an editor, as you mentioned, you have an assistant in about 10 years. So now you are, I know you have all these other hats that you wear, but you are a reality television editor. What has that been like? In comparison editorial, I mean, I don't think we've had a reality editor on. I think you're our first. So you're the first.
You are. You're
Am I also the first
reality.
worm too?
You are.
First of, yes. I was about to say the first of many, and then I was like, are we ever going to have a worm?
We had Chris Voutinas on the show, who was the first assistant on Dune 2.
We should do one together.
And part of me is like, I wonder if Chris did some ADR for the worm. Then would he also be a worm? Would you be a second worm?
So I'm not the first worm.
I don't know. I got to ask Chris. We got to be like, did you ever go into an iPhone? And did that make it into
I have done that.
could've.
I've actually, so there's a show I edited called Legion of Exorcists.
Okay.
It was an Eli
Wow.
Roth show. And basically we had a round table of real exorcists. I'm doing quotes like Chris Farley, real exorcists. And they told their stories and we recreated it by filming actual story. Like we wrote scripts and filmed. So it was kind of like a hybrid reality scripted.
Yeah, yeah.
We edited, intercut their roundtable discussions with the films we shot. And most creatures, when you're filming, you have to do ADR afterwards because you have big dentures
Prosthetics.
in.
Of course,
prosthetics.
yeah.
And these creatures had lines and stuff. And so you just couldn't, like the network note was like, I don't know what the monster is saying.
Right.
And you'd be like, we just need ADR. So I was like, I do this on the side for a living. So let me pop it in. And so all of the monsters, I played the voice of every single demon in the entire series. I was just like, you will give me your soul.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Love it. Love it.
So
So you could have done the worm voice.
yeah, I don't know. Does the worm make a sound?
It screams. Yeah, exactly.
So maybe your assistant editor friend did voice the worm.
Possible.
Honestly,
I know
he
we gotta
very
ask.
well
We gotta
could.
ask if you're the second
We'll ask
worm.
him. Yeah. So then I guess going back to editing,
I
do-
talk about worms.
well, Michael is talking about you being an editor. So what have you found the differences then between, like, what is it like to be an editor on an unscripted show? I know you touched on it with like you talking to the producer and showrunner a lot. It's just so interesting because I don't know much about unscripted and how the whole cutting room works. So it's just kind of like a mysterious whirl of like random tasks.
I guess I would say
I'm
maybe
trying to.
a good way to phrase it is it's like if we have young assistant editors and young editors listening to the show and you're pitching your job to them, basically like what would that person expect to be doing in this type of career? Like what should they expect? How is that different from scripted? Like what are the different things that person is going to have to contend with?
Yeah, so because I've done, I've dabbled in narrative, like my own films I edited a couple other indies and then also the hybrid shows like the Eli Roth one. The difference between that versus the unscripted stuff would be a lot more instinct. I feel like you clearly use instinct as well in the narrative because like you have to make it flow correctly. You got to vibe it out. That's there no matter what because that's the editing process. But it seems like in unscripted, it's very heavy in instinct because you have to lean into stuff to make it because it's not just random shit happening. There's actual stories and arcs, and in the acts you have drama that leads to stuff or builds tension to pay off in different acts. you watch it down and you feel it out, and you have to tweak and fabricate a lot. Like you have to fabricate a lot of reaction shots and
a lot of Frankenbites and things like that.
I am the Frankenbite master.
Yeah.
I have made some crazy ones that you wouldn't believe before. Yeah, it's instincts. And I think just going with your gut and trusting it. That was the biggest thing when I was assisting doing cuts on the side, trying to move up, is the thing that was most harmful to me moving up, I think, would have been not trusting myself. Because you're like, well, what do they want? What does the producer want? I want to cut what they want, but they don't know what they want. They just know when it's bad, and they say, I don't like that. But they don't know what to tell you they actually want. So you have to tell them. Yeah. And I think once I caught a grasp of, you actually know what's good. If you're enjoying it, they're going to enjoy it. Once you trust yourself, you are golden. And I think that's the advice I would give to a person who wants to be in the edit chair of anything. Is you have to trust yourself first.
Now, do you find that difficult to fabricate a lot of this stuff? Or are the pieces kind of there and you're like, all right, they're there, I'm going to figure it out? Or is it just like, sometimes it's just a bucket of crap and you have to like make something out of it?
It depends. I think I've heard other people express the difficulty of it. For me, at this point, it's not difficult because I've done it so much.
How long have you been an editor in reality right now? Or unscripted, I should say.
Probably 10 years-ish.
Okay.
I like to say unscripted because reality to me signifies like verite sound up like Real Housewives.
Right,
but like crime shows, talk shows, game shows, those all are unscripted as well, but it's not reality. So it's
yes. It's my fault for I keep saying reality, but I do mean unscripted.
I think it encompasses more. Because I have done
it's like reality is like a subgenre in unscripted.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also keep saying narrative when I mean
documentaries would also be under unscripted. But
absolutely.
I'm working on a documentary right now, and like that is an entirely different workflow than what I've talked to people about who work in unscripted reality television.
Oh yeah,
it's an entirely different workflow than what we're doing. So, but it's still part of the unscripted umbrella.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, what was your question?
Oh, I was asking about the fabrication of. So
at this point, it's not really difficult for me personally, but I feel like in a weird way, it tells itself, because when you're dealing with something that's pre-existing, there is only so many directions it can go. So it's not like I'm not torn between, I have 5 different options.
Yeah.
Like it really lends itself into what it is, and you just have to lean into it for what it is as itself.
Yeah. Like you've got one medium of the shot of this person saying this. You have to use that one shot. So
I'm not torn between the best shot.
Yeah.
Exactly. They only said it one time on one camera.
Exactly. And we also have a joke within our community. We used to call ourselves turd polishers because it's still a turd. It's just nice and shiny.
Yeah. That's great. That's good.
I don't know if that term still is used, but
it's also interesting because I always found that like one of the reasons that I never really gravitated towards unscripted was because it was a little bit too open-ended for my liking. Like I like a scripted, which has like, here is the end goal. Here are the pieces that we shot. Can you make the best film, emotion, whatever you're trying to show? But unscripted, from my understanding, and you can totally like tell me I'm wrong, it's a lot more creative in the sense that you have to kind of find something out of possibly nothing. From, like I said, from my understanding, which most editors are like, I want to jump at I want to jump at finding the jewel in the toad pile.
You're absolutely right though, because it is extremely creative to do that. Very, very creative. But I don't know if I would say it's more creative, because it to me that choice of words almost takes away from the creativity of filmmaking. And they're all creative in their own ways.
Right. Yes.
Just different problems you're solving.
Different problems. And it's interesting because I am actually exactly like you, where I actually would prefer what you deal with during the day. And I think sometimes it just comes down to, I mentioned it just, for me, it was luck of the draw. I started the workforce when there wasn't.
Yeah.
There was no narrative happening.
Right.
And so then I kind of got stuck, and now I'm attempting to transition into scripted content. But sometimes I think you don't always have a say of what you fall into.
It's kind of what comes to you.
Yeah.
And that's my advice too. You know, he was asking earlier about getting into it. If you want to start out, should you start out in reality? And my advice is start out in what your end goal is, because it's very easy to, the longer you do it, have it harder to follow that path
To get back to it.
And that's also, it's so easy to say that, but the reason also why I stayed in it so long is you have to survive.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't hold out for the job forever.
Yeah.
So like eventually you just start taking jobs because you're like, I need to put food on my damn plate. And, I recall people, when they were starting at the same time as me, there's others who did hold out for scripted jobs or held out for editor positions rather than assistant. It just comes down to they could.
Right.
They had a particular situation that allowed them to just sit and wait. Not everybody can. So, that being said, anyone who is listening that wants to come into it, if you're like, yeah, Alan, but I can't wait out for it, I hear you. And unfortunately, that's just life sometimes.
I tell a lot of like aspiring PAs and stuff like that I tell people, I'm like, you have to think of it like a complicated board game. And like, what resources do you have on the table, and what resources do you have in the bank, and what can you spend and what can you not spend?
Sometimes it could take 20 years because I'm confident I will eventually transition over. But to me, I'll go, it took me 20 years.
Somebody who's like, no, it's totally true. I mean, the reality is like somebody who is, let's say, their parents are wealthy, right? And they're supporting them financially with rent or with whatever.
Then hold out.
Means that person can hold out for a year and a half
well.
to just, they can work at Starbucks and then just wait until they get a PA gig on some big television show or some feature. But somebody who's got student loans or somebody who, has to go back and pay stuff is going to have a much more different approach than
society.
Yeah.
Money wins.
But I tell
Unfortunately,
but you're totally right. It's about being like, what
is.
cards do I have and what resources do I have?
Sometimes you have to take those gut punches, but they do make you stronger because I do feel like, you asked the first question, how has editing affected all my other stuff?
Yeah.
My path has made me stronger in the other things I do.
I feel like speaking of past, like I do want to pivot into talking about the fact that like, I think it's really cool that you have carved your own path, right? And I think there's a lot, we were talking earlier, I think before we were recording that like the industry is absolutely changing. We are in a different industry now in the last...
And no one can tell you what it is now.
And nobody can tell you what it is.
We don't know.
We also don't know what it's going to look like in 5 years, right? Like there's been a big retraction, but do we get a big boom? I talk to people about this all the time about all the different things that could happen.
We'll know in 5 years.
We'll know in 5 years.
Yeah.
We'll know
we
in 5
will.
years. But I do think that the principle of like going forward, I do think personally, I think the next 5-10 years of Hollywood and filmmaking is going to be largely defined by people who wear more hats, like we said earlier, and who are carving their own path outside of the traditional structure of Hollywood. And so I think you probably have some really good lessons to teach us and teach other people about this idea that like, you can carve your own path. It doesn't have to be exclusively this one thing. And I know that most people are not going to get into creature acting realistically, but I am curious just about how that started. And then I know we could do another 3 hours on just everything having to do with your career. So in whatever concise way you can about what has these other avenues outside of editorial, how did they present themselves and how do they manifest themselves in your career, in your life, with regards to editorial?
Well, I'll tell you, I never thought this would happen, but creature acting has helped me during these dark times more than anything. I never in my entire life thought I have more creature acting opportunities than editing.
Wow.
That was an unfathomable thing. But the last couple of years I've had some things pop up where I'm like, thank God I have a second skill.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it started, it's funny, your questions are kind of tangling together. You asked at one point, did I move out here starting to do performance?
Right. Yeah.
And the answer was no. I wanted to come out here and just get my foot on the ground because I needed to survive and establish a flooring to just stand on. Then after quite a few years, I don't remember how many, but I don't know, probably around 2012 or 14, somewhere in there, I started getting the creative bug again. I was like, it's just not, what I'm currently doing is not fulfilling the itch that I've had when I was younger. And so that was when I started doing creature performance, and the snowball just rolled for all of it. And I feel like it was interesting, almost like around that same time was also when I roughly made the jump to editing and that career started to take off. And I feel like it's finding the things that bring you joy kind of just snowballs and trickles into each other.
So it doesn't necessarily. So it's you're saying like if you've got a passion for something, don't be afraid of it. Like if you're an editor and you've got a passion for writing, or you've got a passion for acting, or you've got a passion for producing, go do it. True dat.
Wise words. Wise words.
And we do have to get to the thing that we continually reference throughout the show.
This is a great segue, though.
We have to get to how you became the worm, how that happened, what it was like.
Well, I don't know where you heard this, but that wasn't actually me. I'm kidding. It was.
What? It was CGI? What? You in a mocap suit hiding behind the stage?
I've got to preface this real quick because I found out about this later. So Alan was originally going to be interviewed on the day of the Oscars. That is when he was scheduled.
Interviewed? I was being interviewed?
You were being interviewed. You were
for our show. For our show.
Yes, he originally was going to be on our show for the morning of the Oscars, and he texted me the week before and was like, I have a opportunity to work at the Oscars. I won't be able to do Sunday. I was like, totally fine. Take the opportunity. Now, me understanding that there's jobs like working at the Oscars, working at like other award shows that I'm like, oh, he's probably like an usher, like seating someone, like doing something that is like, oh, he's like helping out. He's probably checking people in like this, I'm like, okay, like obviously go do it. Great experience. And then I asked him if he can come in today to record. He's like, oh, it'll be a lot easier than being a worm in front of 20 million people. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, that was you? He was like, yep, that's me. And so I was like,
my favorite bit of the show, by the way, absolutely, I cracked up every time. It was unbelievable. It was good. Your physical comedy was very good. I was laughing every time.
So now I was like, well, obviously we have to talk about this on the podcast. So we're going to let Alan take it from here and explain to us what happened.
The thing everyone came here for.
The only thing we wanted to hear. You guys have been talking for an hour and I just want to hear about the damn worm.
Yeah.
No.
Like, fuck editing. Get to the worm. Get us to the worm.
I now have a new career playing a worm only.
Yeah.
So the worm at the Oscars. Yeah, it was great. I think, I first went in for rehearsal on Thursday.
Whoa. How did you get this?
Yeah.
How did you even hear? Did they reach out to you? Did you is there an audition process to be the worm? Like how did this happen?
This particular one wasn't an audition. I was recommended and I have a strong enough resume and submission packet that it was just a decision. So they offered me the job and I said yes, of course.
Got sought out. He was
but it was all last minute. I think I found out when I texted you, so I only knew like a week.
Yeah, it was last minute.
Because it was super secret, and they also couldn't tell me what the skit was or anything.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't know.
So they were just like, "Can you work?"
You must have had to go in for a costume fitting or something, right?
Mm-mm. But I also knew, I know my demographic. I play monsters, so I was like, they want some sort of creature.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But that's as far as I knew.
Right.
I was like, they wouldn't call me to be a human. I'm not going to be tap dancing with Conan. But it was really cool because they went in. First off, it was the kindest team that I've ever worked with. Mm-hmm. Everyone was so professional, so awesome, collaborative. It was honestly, it was an experience that I can't even describe. It was so cool. But during we had a couple rehearsals, and we had a rehearsal on Thursday. I was originally hired just for the harp bit.
Okay.
That's halfway through the show.
Oh, not the piano bit. The piano bit was first, right?
Correct. So I went into the rehearsal. Everyone loved it.
Yeah.
Went home for the day. And then Friday night, I got an email that said, we want to now put the worm in the opening monologue.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, holy shit, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So we went back in on Saturday, rehearsed, and then Sunday was the day.
Went through all smoothly. Yes.
But it was great because when they rolled me out, I'm on that big platform with the piano and I'm in the worm costume, which it's fairly small. Like it's big, but like you don't have a lot of space to get like a good stance to keep your balance while they're rolling you.
Yeah.
So, I had a sidebar with the dancers and I was like, hey guys, the guys with the big golden Conan heads.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I was like, can you guys just like push it out, not like a grip, push it out like a smooth dancer because I gotta not fall. And he was like, oh, gotcha. We'll make sure you don't fall. They were so awesome. They were kind. He was like, if we need to, we'll push you back up. And I was like, well, I hope it doesn't come to that.
Catch you.
I would love, I'm sorry, this, no harm to you, but I would have loved to see the worm being pushed out and just fall like sideways off the cart and just be like, plop.
Well, it was great because
I'll help you up.
they pushed me out though, and they're all dancing, and I can hear a little bit in there, but it's a little muffled. And so I hear, and now the worm on playing chopsticks on piano. So I'm like listening to it and going in rhythm, but I'm having a hard time hearing. So I'm doing it, and the piano stops. So I go, great, it's over. So I like stay alive, and then suddenly I hear, I'm like, the music is still going, and I'm still in the middle of the stage. So I just start dancing and within the worm, and it turned out that was great.
I have to go back and rewatch that section so I can be like, that dancing was all improv. You did not know.
I knew the day of it was the rehearsal that I didn't know. So the rehearsal, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to be out here the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then they called Deadpool out and he dances, and I'm like, and I'm still here. Still in the middle of the stage.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
You killed it, and you represented our community proudly. You represented our community.
That's the unexpected thing is it was very cool to see, all the editors and the Editors Guild did that article and stuff that they were just so excited that a fellow editor was on stage.
Yeah.
And I saw a handful of comments where people were like, an editor? Like, editors are introverts. They're not going to go on stage in a worm costume.
Well, just for any young editors listening out there who have a passion for also acting,
one day you can be a worm on the Oscars.
You might be on the stage for the Oscars in a worm costume. You never know. You never know.
I think your bit is only tied with the fire chiefs doing those jokes that were just brutal. I mean, it was like Cody being like, and remember, you have to laugh. They're national heroes.
Those guys were great.
I was dying.
Well, look out, Alan Maxson.
It was a great show, and it was all because of you. It was It was the best Oscars I've seen in a long time. I mean,
it was good.
It was a good show.
It was a fun time.
All right.
Ready for our Splice and Spew?
Splice and Spew.
Now it's time for our Splice and Spew.
All right, I'm going to rave about mullets this week. I've started growing out a mullet. You can kind of see it in the back there. It's a little bit there, and it's getting longer. Mullet. And I'm going to stand by the fact that I have a lot of like Gen X and former boomer coworkers that see me with my mullet, and they just make fun of me. And they're like, hey, if you've got a mullet, like nobody will ever want to talk to you. Ha, 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 ha. And I just want to let all those people know mullets are cool again. Mullets have come back around. Mullets are cool again. This is from the mouth of like, I'm a senior Gen Zer, okay? And I stand on business that mullets are cool again. Mullets are back. So I don't want to hear any of this. Like, I'm not wearing the mullet for you. I'm wearing the mullet for me and my peers. And I can tell you among my peers, mullets are cool.
Life short, grow mullet.
Life short, grow mullet, buy Pokemon cards.
All right. That was Michael's spew for the week on mullets. Here goes my spew. I hate when people are very, very late to things. Michael was late this morning for the LA Marathon, so a little bit of this is like a stab at him. Totally fine that he was late. I understand because there was the LA Marathon, and you can't stop traffic. I have gotten a little bit better, but man, when I was younger, if someone was late by like 10 minutes, I was like, dude, you are wasting my time. You are wasting. We have a time. We got a time constraint. We got to go. Even if it's like going to the beach. I'm like, dude, I told you to be ready at 10 and you're ready at 10:30, 11 o'clock. No, I'm sitting in my car waiting for you when I could have been doing something else with my life. Okay. Like I could have spent that last half hour playing Satisfactory on PC, but no, you made me wait for you doing nothing. There's my spew for the.
I just want to say I totally agree with Leanne. I was late this morning. I agree there's no excuse for being late. I'm with you also as well. I really hate when people are late. I don't agree with the concept of California time, which is like it's okay to be 15 minutes late to everything.
Yeah.
Like I disagree with that concept. But I will say, I'm only going to say I didn't know the LA Marathon was this morning. I have timed out my route to Leanne's house. It takes exactly 27 minutes. So like I know when I need to be in the car to get here. And like I did not know the LA Marathon was happening when I got in my car. And Google Maps was like, you cannot go this way. You will go to jail for vehicular manslaughter. So it would be murder, actually, because I would know.
Over all the
so it would be like, no, you have to drive around on the 5, which added 30 minutes to my commute this morning.
I will say being out in LA has forced me essentially to be a little bit calmer about people being on time. But it's ingrained in me to like always want to be on time unless there are situations where I'm like, look, it's a birthday party. You don't have to show up at 8.
Yes.
Like
there are
like
very
that.
specific things where it's like, I agree. It's like if we're leaving for the beach and you live 10 minutes away from me, you don't have an excuse to be 20 minutes late. Like it didn't take you weren't in 20 minutes of traffic, right? Like, you just got ready late and then left at a later time. That annoys the hell out of me. I totally agree with you. But if it is like, my birthday's at 6, you should not show up until 7:30, right?
That's totally fine.
That's like that's
a
an
general gathering is okay to be late. But if it's where I'm like, look, I want to leave now. And also, sorry, I'm adding on to my spew. It's funny.
Take an additional spew for me. Do it.
No. You got to do your own.
You gotta have one.
You got to do your own.
What's interesting is if I am the one who is directing like the time, like when we're leaving, like if I'm driving and I'm like, please be ready by this time. Like if I'm the one who's kind of like coordinating things, I do want you to be on time. But if it's someone else who sets a time, like someone's picking me up and going, I won't get mad at that person who's picking me up for us being late because I'm like, that's on you. I have no control over being late at this point. Like if I am relying on someone else to pick me up or to like handle whether or not I am late, I'm not like, we gotta be on time. I'm just like,
whatever.
You're the one who's you're the one who's taking long or whatever. And I will say that I have been the one to be late at a few things, and I'm not proud of it. But also, I am a lot more
but you know what?
Be on time if I'm
my last pin on this that I'll say is I also have a lot more empathy for someone late if they are communicating why they're late and they're letting you know the moment they're going to be late, they let you know the expectation.
I appreciate that a lot more.
Which is like that's what I did this morning. Like the moment, like an hour.
Stop making excuses.
I'm all I'm saying. I stand on business.
You did have a valid excuse too.
Yeah, and I was calling you and updating you as my time was. I was telling you.
But if someone just is not there for another half hour, and I don't know what's going on, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
And then they show up and they're like, "What's up, dude?" And you're like, "I'm gonna murder you."
Yeah.
You're stepping through this door like I'm gonna.
Yeah.
All right, Max, Alan. I was reading Maxson and I said Max. I'm sorry,
That's
Alan.
better than most. My rant.
Here you go.
Readers. Speed readers. People who don't actually read the fucking email and they just glance at shit and they go, "Thanks, Alex." Even though my name says Alan in the signature, my email is Alan Maxson, and we've spoken in person, but yet you only read Al and the Max and combined it like some sort of speed reading crazy person. You're not Johnny Five from Short Circuit. Actually take the time to read the sentence. That's my pet peeve right there. There you go. That's it.
I love that both of these spews were directed at Michael today.
You get it. It's you, man.
I know.
Oh my God,
I knew your name was Alan too.
But the good thing is you have a mullet.
I do have a mullet.
But you have a mullet.
I have a mullet.
Oh my gosh.
Business in the front, party in the back. All right, we ready? We done, Leanne?
Should we be done?
Mushroom
Does Cassidy need a spew or?
Oh, Cassidy's corner.
We'll let him have his
We need a little
spew.
jingle for Cassidy corner.
He's going to be talking outside the microphone.
Hello, I'm Cassidy. My spew, as a member of Gen Z, I've been feeling really left out recently because all of my friends who have mullets are always so punctual and they read so fast. I just can't keep up. It's like they're done reading before they even arrive.
Man, that's fair. Man. Michael is getting it today. Oh my God. Well,
Can we steal the audio of Alan playing chopsticks on the piano and that plays us out? And then
Zach is
oh
aware.
no, it's like we're the Oscars and the music's playing us out. And I'm talking, but the music is playing us out as the music. Anyway, thanks to my mom, thanks to my aunt, Auntie Karen, thanks everybody. Okay, bye bye.
Or how does the worm sound?
Well, thank you. On that note, thank you for listening to this episode of Sips and Clips. You keep on sipping and we'll keep on clipping.
Boop, boop, boop. They gotta play the music as it's going out. I'm serious. It'd be really funny. I'm Michael. Thank you for listening.
Sips and Clips is a podcast produced by Leanne McFalls and Michael Schusterman. Graphic by Max Schulman. Sound mixing by Cassidy Legan. Sound editing by Zach Griffin. Follow us on Instagram at Sips and Clips Pod. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.